Alrighty, so this is our second session talk on mindfulness of the breath. I want to start off by talking about an old movie, and I know you'll know it once you hear it. But it's a movie about a young rapper living in Detroit in 1995. Young rapper Jimmy B. Rabbit Smith Jr., determined to fulfill his dream of being a successful hip hop artist. And B. Rabbit also has some challenges. He has a mother who's struggling with alcoholism, who also has an abusive boyfriend. He's attempting to care for his sister. In between his current life and hip hop stardom is a local rap battle. And all he has to do is not choke. And of course, that's what happens. He chokes in the middle of performing and is booed off stage. Slowly but surely, he gets his life together and he tries again. I won't mention how it ends, just in case you want to check out an old hip hop movie if you haven't seen it. But this final climactic moment was the inspiration for the song Lose Yourself. And so I just want to share some of the lyrics here. The song says, look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or let it slip? His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater, already mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking. How's everybody joking now? The clock's run out. Time's up. Over. Blah. Snap back to reality. There goes gravity. There goes Rabbit. He's choked. He's so mad, but he won't give up that easy. No, he won't have it. He knows his whole back's to these ropes. It don't matter. He's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stagnant. He knows when he goes back to the mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again. This whole rhapsody, better go capture this moment and hope it doesn't pass him. You better lose yourself in the music, the moment. You own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. There are so many moments in life where we might find that our palms are sweaty or our knees are weak. Moments when we experience deep passion, love, beauty, unexpected graces, and overwhelming gratitude. There are also moments when we are gripped by fear, anxiety, anger, past traumas, having to speak difficult truths, or even the experience of exhaustion. There are also moments when we are acutely aware that what we are experiencing will fundamentally change who we are. These can be profoundly stressful moments where we may experience flight or fight. In these moments, we become acutely aware of the breath we have taken for granted. Through mindfulness of the breath, there's another way to relate to these moments of our lives. There's a wonderful saying by a woman, Nadine Stair, an 85-year-old woman from Louisville, Kentucky. She says, oh, I've had my moments. And if I had to do it over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I try to have nothing else, just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. So much of our daily lives are oriented around creating a future for ourselves, our families, and increasingly for the very planet we live on, hoping that it will be sustainable for future generations. And so much of those efforts are impacted by our personal history, our family history, and the burdens of the history of injustices and sufferings. Mindfulness of the breath will not eliminate the blessings and burdens, the possibilities and perils of how the past and the future affect how we experience our present. However, mindfulness of the breath is a profound gift that allows us to greet and embrace these experiences And so we begin with the breath because it's here, it's with us now. To become mindful of our breath is a practice that anchors and steadies the heart, mind, and our attention. When I first moved back to Chicago, there was an Aikido dojo that I used to train at. The classes were at 6:30 a.m. At first, I dreaded having to travel from the south side all the way to the north side in the morning to go to class. But eventually, I came to see it as a gift because there's something about training first thing in the morning where I could begin to say to myself, whatever this day brings, I've already been thrown to the mat and I've gotten back up. So I began to view this early morning class as a way of beginning my day with the practice of resilience, right? The experience of it, the fact of it, not just an idea. So mindfulness of the breath can serve as a powerful resource in cultivating resilience and navigating the moments that any given day may bring. A few minutes of mindful breathing can contribute to reclaiming and restoring a sense of sacred presence in the midst of sweaty palms and weak knees. So I want to invite you to consider 3 ways to begin cultivating mindfulness of the breath. The first is what we've already practiced this evening, which is to simply place our hands on our stomach and to feel it rising and falling, allowing ourselves to be attentive to the way in which we are alive, this movement of the breath rising and falling. The second practice is to recognize our in breath and our out breath, to see if we can feel the sensations of air flowing through the mouth or nostrils. And here it's interesting to see if we are tempted to control the breath. And if we find ourselves being tempted to control it, that's something we should be curious about. It's curious to notice our own tendency to try to control the very thing that is already sustaining us. So the challenge is to see if we can allow the breath to breathe, to experience life as being alive. We can also recognize a space in between the in breath and the out breath, that subtle pause. Becoming aware of the space can help us to remain attentive throughout the cycle of our breath. During the practice of mindfulness, inevitably, our minds will wander. Tara Brach describes this as waking up to not being here in the moment. She says this, it's a moment when you notice the attention is gone. That moment is a magic moment because that's the moment you are waking up out of the trance. You're waking up from not being here in that moment, and then we come back. In some spiritual traditions, the experience of being found is the very moment you realize you were lost. So, what a wonderful gift to find ourselves in the moment, to come back to who we are now rather than being lost in who we were or who we have yet to become. Lost in what cannot be changed and what has not yet even been chosen. So, mindfulness of the breath is a practice that contributes to experiencing our lives in ways that are more truthful. Hayek Nan has this wonderful quote where he says, mindfulness, concentration, and insight give birth to one another. That mindfulness carries the energy of concentration within itself. Concentration carries the energy of insight within itself. So the more we're cultivating mindfulness, the more we're able to cultivate concentration. And the more we're able to cultivate concentration, the more we're able to contemplate insights about our own experiences and the experiences that we greet. Another way of thinking about mindfulness and mindfulness of the breath, there's a teacher by the name of Jill Shepherd. And she has this nice kind of phrase where she talks about mindfulness as relaxed diligence. So it's diligent in a sense that we keep showing up and we keep at it, but at the same time, it's not something that we are trying to force. Right? It's not something that we're trying to strive to accomplish, but rather it is this relaxed diligence, this continuing effort to show up to our own experience. So over the course of the next week, I want us to just really think about those moments when we can begin to cultivate more of a relaxed diligence and to think about moments where we can be more present, right, to who we are in this moment, the truth of who we are, and the experiences that we're having.